Boom, what is going on, y'all? Happy Tuesday to everybody. And as I sit down to record this episode, I'm looking outside a little bit and the sun is shining. Not a cloud in the sky. A slight breeze is kind of flowing out there. And I'm just feeling very blessed, very thankful. Gratitude is flowing through my veins right now to be living in the great state of Florida, to have my health. And I hope you guys can kind of feel those vibes as you're listening and watching today. So just want to express that gratitude, not only for that weather and that health, but also for you guys tuning in. And thank you for being here with me to learn, to grow, to hopefully accumulate some knowledge and also accumulate some practical applications to go out there and apply the knowledge and the perspectives that I'm going to bring to the table today. So without further ado, the topic of conversation for today is going to be leading and following. And more specifically, what should I do first? Should I try to lead first and then accumulate followers? Should I follow first, kind of learn the ropes and then try to step into a leadership position? What should that kind of look like? How should I navigate that process? And for me, it's always going to start here. And this is just my opinion. This is my estimation. And this is what I found to be true. This is what I found works best for a wide variety of people. And that is this: I think you have to follow first before you lead. And when we think about following, I think we generalize that term too much, right? I'm a follower or I'm a leader, and you're kind of classified as one or two of these separate labels, or kind of one or the other, And if you're kind of labeled as a follower, that sometimes can kind of be seen as a negative, right? You know, you should be a leader, you should stand up, you should lead the way, you should do all these different things. And if not, then you need to figure that out. You need to be that, this, that, or the other. And I disagree with that sentiment because I think, again, first and foremost, you have to lead before you want to follow. So step one in that process to me is this, is that when we think about following, okay, and if you have aspirations to hopefully be in a leadership position one day, yes, you have to follow first. But even if you don't have aspirations to maybe be in the forefront as a CEO or a coach or things like that, I still think you have to follow so you can learn the necessary things to progress yourself in life no matter what you want to be doing. So that's kind of first and foremost. That's the first step, is you have to follow no matter what your aspirations are in life. And then secondly, when it comes to following, I think we generalize that term too much. And again, it's kind of seen as a negative thing. But here's the kicker. Here's kind of the difference. And here's what I believe, is that you shouldn't just follow blindly, right? And kind of close your eyes and say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and just keep it moving and just kind of accept what the leader is telling you. And that's not always going to be the case because, yes, there is a time and a place where that is necessary, right? You're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years old. You're listening to your parents. You're listening to your coach. And, of course, you should do what they say because I think that's part of that whole process. But at the same time, instead of just blindly following and saying yes or yes, ma'am, you can still say those very things. But I think you have to be a purposeful and conscious follower if you are going to be doing that. And not even if you're going to be doing that, but just overall. And what I mean is this: when maybe it's your coach, or maybe it's mom, or maybe it's dad, or a teacher, or a principal, or a person who is quote unquote above you, you should be following them, yes, because they are leading you, but two, you can see how they operate, because then maybe you can learn from them. So in a certain situation, they're telling you to do X, Y, or Z. They tell you to do X. It works out, fantastic. So then one day, when you're in that position of leadership, maybe you can apply that same exact tactic and it works out in that favor, right? Or maybe they tell you to execute in such a way where it doesn't work out. Okay, why didn't it work out? Was it the way that they express it? Was it the emotion that they brought to the table? Was it the specific tactic just in general that didn't work out for this specific situation? Okay, why didn't it work out? I need to identify those things. So then again, when I'm in that position one day or I'm still following or whatever, I can be better when it's my time or maybe the situation arises again. And that just comes down to being conscious as a follower because there is so much to learn. There are so many angles to take. Maybe you want to emulate or imitate that leader because you feel so strongly about them. I've had coaches in my life where it's like, there's God, there's Jesus, and then there's this coach, right? So you just want to be that person. You want to emulate them. And if you're not conscious in understanding how they operate on a day-to-day basis, you can say the same things, you can do the same things, but if you don't put your own twist on it and you don't have the understanding that backs that stuff up, then it's going to come through as fake. There's going to kind of be a false bottom to that. And what you ultimately aspire to do is not going to come to fruition because you didn't consciously make the effort to follow them in a way where you were actually learning and growing and adapting to that stuff versus just being the quote-unquote good soldier saying yes, sir, and keeping it moving. Like, that's not going to work out in your favor. We have to be conscious in every single situation. And kind of even a further point that I wanted to make with this as well is if we can't be a good follower, again, more times than not, I don't see it really working out in our favor when we're in leadership positions to expect anything else from anybody else. Because even if you don't respect your coach, even if you don't respect your leader, I still think it's, maybe it was just the way I was raised, the coaches that I had, but you should still show them respect and try to do what they say, even if you don't agree with it. If you don't agree with it, you can always talk to them about it, cool, but you still have to do that stuff for the betterment of the team, for the cohesion of the team, or whatever. Are there going to be drastic situations where maybe that's not the case? For sure. But I think that's karma. I think that's just being a good person, is, kind of being the type of follower that you want to have one day when you're in that leadership position or that coaching position. Or if you're a teacher, be the student now that you want to be when you are the teacher one day, to, again, kind of get that good karma flow, but at the same time, just an expectation of it. Don't be ignorant to that. Don't just say, oh, when I'm in that position, it's all going to be good. No, be that right now. You have to be a good follower. You have to be a conscious follower if you want people to do that for you down the road. And I think that's really important because I see a lot of people right now, especially with the internet and things happening really fast. People want to be the CEO today. People want to be the head coach of Michigan State University today. Well, no, you have to follow and follow and follow and learn and learn and learn. So then when you do get in those positions, you've been conscious enough and you've learned enough so that you can go off and succeed. Or if you just want the position because of pride or because of title or because of status, then once you're in it, it's going to be over real quick if you weren't being conscious in those pursuits as a follower prior to you acquiring that position. So there's so much that can go into that. There's so many different angles that I could take. But again, I think we have to be conscious first and foremost to learn and to acquire the necessary skill sets and empathy and communication skills and whatnot. So then when we are in that position, right, we can succeed. But then two, be what you want your players or your students to be when you're there, just due to being a great person, just being, or having that good karma coming around, again, when you're in that position one day. So a little all over the place with that idea today. I've been thinking on that for the past probably week and a half, 2 weeks, thinking back to when I was a good follower, when I wasn't a good follower, been in some leadership positions. Well, why wasn't I a good leader? So and it really boiled down to you have to follow before you can lead, and not just follow, but follow consciously. And then I think if you can do that, it's going to set you up really well to be a phenomenal leader, because then you understand kind of the two-way street of leading and following, where if you never followed really well, then how can you understand the perspectives of being a good follower, what you want people to do in those situations when you're in that leadership position? And it's just this whole thing, right? So a lot to take in with that. I hope some of that made sense, but would love your guys' feedback on the idea, on the topic at hand, and we're going to rock that out and leave you guys with that today to, again, hopefully provoke some thought, get you thinking about how you're following or how you're leading, or maybe you're in positions where both of those different entities can take place. And let me know what you think. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep growing. And I most certainly don't have it all figured out, but that's what I really prayed on and contemplated the last couple of weeks. So that's kind of where I stand on that topic. So with that, Happy Tuesday, April 7, 2020. If you are listening in the morning, make it a great day. If you are listening at night, have a great sleep and wake up tomorrow and keep things rocking. Okay, but keep that positive outlook. Keep that hope alive, because what is the alternative to not being positive, to not being hopeful? It doesn't always work out when you're positive or hopeful, but sometimes it does. But when you're negative and you don't have, it never works out in your favor then, right? So what's the alternative? Let's keep those positive spirits alive. Let's keep that hope alive and keep pushing in the right direction, y'all. Okay? Happy Tuesday. God bless you guys. Coach Cool.